on the watermarking, but still watermarking is regarded as a, what we can say, active research topic, because there are many open challenges still present in watermarking. Even I will give you the different new challenges that is possible with watermarking, and if anyone wants to proceed with their research or any other things, they could even go with that. Okay, because there has been many still open challenges in the watermarking. In this session, I'm going to restrict towards the different techniques that will try to secure the information contents of the image. And then we take an image and try to analyze which are the really important information contents, and then how to secure that using, of course, different types of watermarking. And not only that, rather than just keeping theory, it's better that we implement something. So even I've got a MATLAB programming along with this. Three small algorithms I'm going to share with you, and we are going to implement that. Of course, even though it's very simple, but at least for the beginners that could help. And even if you have already done, at least you can just go through those processes and then apply with whatever new work you're going to do there. So that is why I have put practical insight with MATLAB, because for testing purpose, and if you have got an idea and if you want to just quickly know whether the idea is really good or bad, it is better to go for MATLAB. And once it's done, then we can think of product level and other things. So to start with, it is better always try to implement with a MATLAB, which is, of course, easier for image processing and other things because of lot of tools and toolboxes and functionalities it provides. Okay, we will see that. And as Raghu introduced, I'm working in JNNC as an associate professor, and I have done my PhD in this area itself, particularly the intelligent watermarking, where we have proposed a novel idea of combining multiple watermarks inside the single image and analyze the image, get the sensitivity areas of the different image. You take any image, every image will have different levels of sensitivity, mark those sensitivity, and then according to that sensitivity, apply the watermark. That was the research that was being carried out and was being awarded in the recent defense. Yeah. This is my flow of presentation. Particularly, I want to touch on why all this we are talking so much on security. What is that digitization has got a role to play with security? Whether this digitization so advantageous has actually brought the security problems, or is it the source of the security problems? And is it causing different threats? That we have to analyze first. Before we go to our research, we have to analyze that what is actually the root cause of all these problems. And then what are the different mechanisms we have other than watermarking? I think I could see the schedule itself, visual cryptography or the other types of cryptography, image innovation in cryptography has been seen to secure the image itself, finally to give an image security platform. Let us see how watermarking is better, or how watermarking can be more useful in certain situations. That also we will discuss. And then comes the actual implementation, as well as the different ways of implementing the watermarking technology. And of course, whenever we do some technique, even as a researcher, I always feel that we have to analyze, we have to validate our work. So validating our work means we require different parameters. So in this context of watermarking, you have developed a technique and you claim that it is secure. You have tested for some inputs, it is giving some proper outputs. That's fine, but that will not end the story. You have to perform the research properly with the analytics and hypothesis testing. Okay, so what are those tools available with respect to and with context of watermarking, we will discuss. And then new challenges are there. Okay, I will just highlight those new research challenges. Definitely, if anybody is interested, we can work together and see that open projects are available on watermarking technology. And of course, in between, I will be discussing on how we can use MATLAB for implementing the watermarking techniques. Yeah, the whole story starts with digitization. Digitization is the process of, converting that whatever data you have into zeros and ones. For example, you have got a photo, you have captured a photo. You try to digitize that, computerize it in simple terms, store it in the computer using zeros and ones. So this is digitization, and because of digitization, we have got a lot of advantages. Okay, as you can see, different advantages are there. Because we have digital cameras, we got digital mediums, and today we are all in the digital world itself. Even the COVID pandemic has actually increased the use of digital platforms. Every school, every colleges, Everybody is looking at various digital platforms to reach the stakeholders, whether it is parents or whether it is the students or government or anything. And even not only schools for that matter, the most of the work in the IT industry, that itself has become, earlier they were having a concept of work from home. Now that has been formalized. Okay, everybody is working from home itself in order to avoid this pandemics. So in all these processes, the thing that is happening is everybody of us are contributing towards digital transactions, digital communication. Okay, all the data what I am speaking itself is getting digitized in the Google Meet, like that. Whatever SMS we send, WhatsApp messages we send, as well as this is for our communication. Maybe other things like you are going for some many different sectors like healthcare. So healthcare is what we are going to give our reports to the digital media, share our reports in the digital media, scan the whether it is X-ray report or whether it is any pathological reports, get the scanned versions of that, digitize that, and then send to different doctors, get the opinions, get the expert opinions. Now it is not possible to bring everybody in a single place. We consult them through the digital media, digitize whatever reports we have, send it to the different healthcare sectors, and then they will expert doctors or the series of doctors will be there. They will give the opinions as well as the treatment that could be done. So that is one sector. Maybe even banking for that matter. Banking also has digitized completely. Most of the transactions, even the check systems today, are being digitized. Check systems. There is a new technology introduced maybe 2 years back, I think, CTS, check truncation systems. Okay. So where exactly you will just scan your check and then upload it, and then that gets realized and the amount comes into your account. Okay, that kind of a system, check truncation systems. Okay, everything is going for digitized media, and because check is actually the valid media for many of the transactions, for many of the bill payments, particularly if you have got large amount to be paid, people use check as a media. So check is getting digitized. So that is banking sectors. Education sectors, I think all of us are aware. All these classes we take, as well as the communications we do with the students, stakeholders, as well as our webinars, whatever we conduct, the seminars, the workshops, everything is becoming online. So a lot of digital media. And suppose I want to authenticate myself, the ID cards for that matter, or the other things are also digitized. And not only that, bill payments today, everything is online. Okay, whether it is the telephone bill, whether it is the recharge bill, or whether it is anything else, anywhere premium is required, everything goes through digital media. We digitize the bills also. Okay, and like that, different sectors, digitization is being applied, and because it is easily accessible, it is easily editable, and you can properly organize it so that anybody asks anything, it can be searched easily, it can be indexed. And not only that, we can even find out the similarities and analysis among the contents we have. Quickly we can find out all these new things, new patterns, new findings, new similarities, everything is possible. The root cause is digitization. Digitization is an advantage, it's a boon, because it is reaching all the sectors, and present world demands digitization. Okay? So definitely digitization is required. And as I told, when I talk about digitization, and particularly with respect to image, different types of image that we used in digital media can be in the form of like ID cards, okay, or our check, as I told, even our mass cards can be digitized. Certificates, what we get next, we will get a certificate of this webinar, that is also digitized. Bill payments, handwritten documents. You write your own notes and share with the students, or you write some poems if you are a good poet, or the land documents, heritage documents. All these things are digitized. Okay? So many types of digital documents, so many examples, so many categories of digital images. Okay? Definitely, when so much of digitization is there, there will be another part of the world who will be looking to tamper that. There will be another part of the world who will try to peek in and get the information. Now that part we have to bother, because so much is going on very well, and so much of digital things are going on, and as I just detailed, different sectors, different categories, digitalization is playing a very important role. Then definitely there is another part of the world who always looks at tampering that media, trying to make use of this digitization. Okay, wherever there is a use, there is always a misuse. There is a sector which is always bothered about that. Okay, you have properly attended the webinar and you get the certificate. There may be another person who may just spoof the certificate. Okay, try to say that I have attended that. Maybe there is a different way of proving that and disproving that. But if somebody gives that and uploads it, and if some company accepts it, then that's done. Mask cards. Somebody might tamper and still hold the watermarks, see that nothing has happened. Otherwise, the softwares are there. Professional softwares are there. And even if you are an amateur, you can just learn those softwares and try to reproduce the content, force the contents easily. Because everything is going digital, there is a chance of tampering. There is a chance of misuse. Okay. So that is the next thing. These are all the problems that happen because of digitization. Because the best part we have seen, the advantages we have seen, there are certain problems. Of course, we have to overcome those problems. There are problems, and these are the problems that has happened in the recent part. And mechanisms have been done, but still there are counter mechanisms that has even over smarted these things. Let us see what solutions and other things next. But just giving a brief background of all these problems, the first problem might be whether you are authentic or whether you are fake. If you will come and give me a certificate, then I'm a neutral college and I should know how to validate you. Okay, I can't again go who is the organizer, call them, whether he is there or not at that time, don't know. After 4 or 5 years will come, who will track all those things? So there should be a mechanism. Whenever you bring something, I should tell this is an authentic document or a fake document. Anything it might be, whether it is the attendance certificate or whether it is the land document or whether it is any other types of documents. Moment you bring a document, authentication and fakeness should be distinguished. But unfortunately, because of digitization and because of the so many softwares available that can create good versions, it is somewhat difficult to distinguish whether it is authentic or whether it is fake. And sometimes because of this, the fake documents get accepted and you go in through with these fake documents. Hazards happen, and after some time, maybe they realize, and then at that time damage might have happened. Okay, so there are cases that has been reported, and this is the first problem of digitization. Because of digitization and because of the advancements in the software of handling digitization and recreating it, reproducing it, editing it, all those are very easy. The mechanism to distinguish is difficult. Whether it is you bring a document, whether it is authentic or whether it is a fake, that is the problem. Second, illegal copying. That is what happens. Somebody uploads this and it keeps on growing like a cancer. It keeps on growing number of copies. Then finally, it is very difficult to say which was original because we end up with so many copies. That is illegal copying. Is it possible to cut that? Whenever somebody tries to copy, we should clearly come to know it is copied. This is original and this is copied. Can we have a mechanism of that? That is difficult. Okay. Third problem of digitization is tampering is easier. Take a check, try to change the date. Take a check, try to change the signature. Okay. Maybe with all these sophisticated tools that are available, forgery also has taken place. Digital documents, even the normal documents sometimes get forged. Digital documents are even easier to forge. Okay. And as you know, most of the research scholars as well as the academicians are very clearly know the information regarding are aware of plagiarism. Plagiarism is an act of representing another's work as your own. That is what they checked in the thesis. How much percent is yours, how much percent is others, right? Now that is possible. Why? Because of digital. You have a word, you copy paste it because that is easy. Softwares are there to copy paste. Take somebody's work and simply put it here. It is easy. Okay, that is digital. Okay, because of digitization, it is easier. Okay. As well as falsification. Falsification means misrepresenting somebody's work. Okay, as it is, if you are presented, that is one thing. Secondly, you present it very wrong. Okay, and try to claim they have done that. Another bad intention. I'm telling you. You try to use it for yourself. That is one motive. That is one thing. Second motive is try to defame another person. Try to misrepresent that. That is falsification. Okay. All these are possible because of digital. Later, so many people try to say that I have not done this. So many videos get leaked, and they put their voice and they say that this is his voice only. Then that person has to say, I have not done this. Then this judgment keeps on going. Okay, because digitization, all these things are happening. Okay? All these problems are happening. Even though digitization has made life very easy and it has become inevitable today, but digitization dark face is these things, darker side. Authentication or fake is difficult. Judgment, copying control is difficult. Tampering detection is difficult, and tampering detection and tampering correction both are difficult. We have to go ahead actually. Tampering first, whether it has happened or not, one thing. If it has happened, what was the previous content, original content? Getting it back there. So that is tamper recovery. Okay, and representing another's work as your own, that is plagiarism without giving any credit to that person. Next is misrepresenting somebody's work and trying to defame them is another falsification. Okay. So many things, so many problems with digitizations, okay, which has to be combated, which has to be overcome, and we are finding solutions regarding that itself. Many traditional solutions are there, and not only traditional, even today they exist. You can go for IPR, intellectual property rights. Okay, just claim the IPR. Intellectual property rights, you have got different mechanisms. First thing is you can go for patenting. Okay, patenting is what it will protect your ideas itself at the beginning stage. Ideas, protection of ideas, that is patenting. If not, go for copyright. Copyright will actually protect the expression of ideas. Once the idea has been done, you will be implementing that. That is expression of ideas. That will be copyrighted. Okay, expression of idea is protected with copyright, whereas prevention of the idea itself is being done by patenting. Okay. Next, other than patents and copyrights, we also have trademarks. Trademarks are some symbols, some logos, or some information that tries to uniquely identify a brand. Just like you have ISI, so like that, there will be some logo or there will be some information that will, or combination that will try to identify, uniquely identify a particular brand or a particular product. That is what for trading. For trading, you use a product, so that is uniquely identified using trademarks. That is also there. Database rights is there. Database rights means it is used to protect the contents of the database. You can claim database rights. Or performance rights is there. Performance right means as an artist or as a owner of the or the creator of a particular digital work, you have done a digital work, you can protect it. You have done a painting or you have done some image, cartoon image or something you have done and you want to protect it. Okay, that is called as performance right. Or music you have composed, you want to protect it. That is the performance rights. Okay, protecting the ownership of the performers. Protecting the ownership of the performers, that is performance right. There are different ways of doing it, but the problem is the recreation of origin is so easy that again that problem of distinguishing original and this one created one is difficult. Second, to get all these things, whether patenting or whether copyright or whatever is there, it is a time-consuming process, and of course it will incur a financial burden as well. Of course, you are with a company, and if the company is investing, that is fine. But that will have its own money and it will take its time. It is not that overnight you will get it. You have to wait. So by that time, somebody might have created, and that might again cause problems and other things. So even though it exists, but they are not that popular. Okay, not frequently used or not popular, because today a lot of digital things you will create for each and small thing. Getting all these things would be very difficult. See, they exploit, we can say explodes. Digital media is exploding. The data passed in the digital is exploding. At that rate, we cannot keep on go for everything, a trademark, patent, database right. That obtaining is a difficult job. Okay, so we need to find some alternate solutions and some quick solutions. Okay, of course, you start with a very traditional thing. I think cryptography. Cryptography is all about encrypting the content and then again decrypting it on the provision of the proper key. Okay, maybe symmetric cryptography or asymmetric cryptography, based whichever technique we use. But the problem here is once it is decrypted, later there is no protection on that. Okay, you will encrypt it and send to that person. That person will decrypt it. Take an example of an email itself. In that email, you will be sending some attachment, encrypted attachment you will send. The bill is there, I will send it. Later that reaches the person and he will decrypt it. Once that is done, there is no more protection for that. Somebody may even copy those decrypted ones. Encrypted original might not be copied. But once it is decrypted at the receiver, later that copies can get created, and then it might again cause the same problem, bring us back to the same problem of digitization. Okay. So cryptography is even though very good. Okay, that is the problem is, as I told, after decryption, it is difficult to protect the information contents. So we go for something called as watermarking. And one more thing with cryptography is whenever you encrypt and send, it is very quite evident for the attacker that you have done something. There is something inside that. That is why you are protecting it. But with watermarking, what happens? The same original image, if you watermark that, it looks like original itself again. So it is very difficult even for the attackers to know that it was watermarked. The original and watermarked almost looks like the same, unless you do a very deep analysis. Perceptually it looks same, okay, visually it looks same. So then when that particular watermark goes, it is very difficult to find out whether this is original or whether it is watermarked. And further, at any point of time, you can always analyze that whatever image is there and say that this is the watermark, because any point of time we can extract the watermark and then say this is our work. Okay. So this can be used in the copyright protection or patent protection or anything. Okay. So whatever image is or whatever your work is there, you watermark it properly. That properly is what the next topic, how you can do that, all those things. So watermark it properly and then distribute it. At any point of time, you can always prove this is original. Okay, because they require a lot of information to break your watermark or modify that or try to, remove that, all those things. So such a strong watermark you put inside that, so that that watermark itself will protect you. So what you put inside, that is the watermark, is definitely of no use. It is actually the cover that matters, which is you are trying to protect that cover image. Okay. So we have a cover image, watermark also is there. Try to protect that by embedding it and then distribute it. At any point of time, we can always extract and say that, okay, this is our work because I have this watermark. Okay. So such kind of information, what should be put and why, how it can be made strong is the research actually. Okay. Even though you can say that this work already exists or this over decade it is available. But as I told, research challenges or the active research topic is how strong watermark we can make as well as how robust we can make or how fragile we can make, like that. I will discuss that. Okay. Sorry. Coming to this point, now let us focus ourselves to only the watermarking solution. Okay, we have gone through digitization, we have gone through the problems of digitization and conventional approaches of trying to protecting it, all those things, and later even cryptographic solution we have seen. Now we have finalized that, okay, yes, definitely watermark can provide us the required solution in this regard, and watermarking can be used. Let us see some other details regarding the watermark. What are the details? Like watermarking algorithms need to address three main properties: the data payload, the robustness, and third one is fidelity. The data payload, how much data you can put, what is the capacity? That is the first thing. Okay. How much you can embed, that is the capacity. Next, robustness. See, there are two types of attacks. Normally, watermark, people try to attack that because once they attack, they can either try to define the watermark, or they may try to remove the information, or they may try to learn the technique, how you are watermarking, so that for the other images, you can also do the same thing. So from the attacker perspective, two types of attacks normally happen once it is watermarked. There is an original image, you have put a watermark, it becomes a watermarked image. On the watermarked image, there are two types of attacks normally possible: intentional and incidental. Incidental might be, it might be compressed, it might be enhanced, it might contrast was very less, you have enhanced it, or there might be some noise in the channel, or you might have done some filtering on that, you might have done some sharpening on that, you might have done some sampling on that, you might have done some cropping on that. There is nothing bad in this. You are only trying to process the image, that's all, for some other work further. So that they're all good actually. They should be, that watermark should resist those things. Even if you do all these things, the watermark should stay as it is, and it should serve you the purpose. That is the first thing. But there are some attacks by people intentionally do. They try to modify the contents. Check modifying the amount or modifying the signature, marks card, marks and modification. Now these are all definitely not for good intention. Okay, are trying to replace one photo with another. Trolls. Today is a world of trolls. Okay, people keep on trolling by putting one image on the another. Okay, and there definitely you need to. They're all definitely not a good intention, right? So intentionally done, intentional attacks. So can we have a techniques that can distinguish? Can we have make our watermarking distinguish? It's intentional. It's incidental. That is the thing. So that is the second property. It should be robust. Okay. Normally, what is desired is it should be as much robust as possible to all the types of attacks. That is one kind of application. If not, for all these intentional things, it should be fragile, and it should succumb and it should go out, but it should report tamper and then wither away. Or second thing, it should be robust to all these attacks, incidental, like as I told, compression, file size reduction, or even as I told, histogram equalization, filtering, sharpening, contrast enhancement, any other operations. The third thing which you have to bother is fidelity. What is fidelity? How much noise has been put as a result of watermark? Because watermark itself is a noise. You have an original image, but because of watermark, again, some quality might get distorted, some contents might get distorted, or some small noise can get added. Okay. Now, how much it has happened? How much it has gone that? Are they perceptually similar? If they are excellently similar, then the PSNR will be high, and in that case, it is having a good fidelity. So, what is the degree of fidelity? Whether it is good or whether it is average or whether it is low, that is important. Now, watermarking, whichever technique you implement, finally requires that you satisfy basically three properties. So try to improve the capacity, try to make it robust as much as possible. At the same time, don't compromise the fidelity. Now that definitely is a trade-off. Trade-off means if you try to do one thing, you will be losing another. If you try to make your fidelity as much good as possible, then you will have lesser capacity. If you put more capacity, then definitely fidelity has a problem. Likewise, if you're trying to make it more and more robust, as well as try to make it fragile to intentional things, then again the other two properties will suffer. Okay? So these problems are there, these trade-offs are there. These are all the challenges that has been taken on and on with many watermarking algorithms. Okay? Again, in one of these properties usually comes at the expense of the loss in the other properties. Now, watermark only information content regions, take into account the information content regions requiring varying. This is the new idea that can be thought out. There has been a lot of work, as I told, but the actual work that is opening now is intelligence in watermarking. This is what the trend that has started. Okay, many watermarking algorithms are available, but as I told, they all have the properties, problems. They try to be robust at the other end, their fidelity is not good. Okay, like that. Or for certain types of images, they are not at all possible, like fax images or other images where you have lesser embedding capacity possible, robustness could not be achieved. Like that, there are certain problems with many types of algorithms. The trend that has started now is the intelligence in watermarking. Okay. Can we find intelligence? Can we distinguish our images and then find out, okay, this area is watermarkable, this should not be watermarked, like that? Can we find it? Or how far I can do that? How far I can apply my compression to that? All those intelligence has been started, and that is the reason we have content-based watermarking or the information content-based watermarking. You have to analyze the information content, and only after that you have to start watermarking. This can be done using your the genetic algorithms, or this can be done even using the neural networks. Okay, whatever the recent trends we have, deep learning and other things. I'll come to the end. Last, I will discuss those new techniques that has got developed recently. Okay. Yeah, coming to the types of watermarks. Perceptibility. There are different ways of classifying, different literatures, different ways they classify the watermark. First of all, whether it is visible or invisible. If you take our mascot, usually it is visible. Okay. But normally it is preferred to be invisible. Okay. So that people should not at least know the pattern, how it is done, or the mechanism, how it is done. So visible and invisible both are there. And there are algorithms that give us a parameter actually. And on controlling the parameter, we can make it visible and invisible, both. That is also there. Okay. For example, there is a software, and that software is a shareware. That means for some days you can use it free. Later you have to pay the money. So in that case, what they will do, they'll keep putting the visible watermark till that. Once it expires, they will lose it. If you want to remove the watermark, you have to pay for that. So that is deliberately made visible. Okay. When you are distributing the contents, because you want to advertise your software or you want to advertise your work. So for some time you will keep it free, but along with that you will put your watermark. That is a visible watermark. Later you will, if somebody pays you or if they obey your constraints, then you will go for removing that. That is why both are used. And as I told, we have algorithms that provide both. That means there is a parameter, transparency parameter, and that through which we can control the perceptibility. Then the next category is robustness, and this is a very standing topic. Three types of robustness watermarks: fragile, semi-fragile, and robust. So the goal is different. The goal is different, and of course, for different applications, it can be used. So the goal in fragile is basically for trying to detect tampering, forgery. The main goal is forgery. It is not about sustaining. It is all about immediately identifying. Okay, tamper has been done. That is first thing. Or if tamper is done, next level is where exactly it has been done. Localizing the tamper itself is a research topic. Okay. Segment level can you localize, block level can you localize, pixel level can you localize. That is where the research has to proceed. Okay. So localizing the tamper, that is fragility. And even next step ahead, after you have done localization, how far you can recover that? How far you can correct it back? That is tamper recovery. Again, recovery at what level? Segment level will you recover? Block level will you recover? Or the individual small pixel level you will recover? All those things. So that is fragile watermarking. The goal is basically to detect the intentional attacks or intention behind that. Semi-fragile, robust actually, on the other hand, the another extreme is robust. It tries to be robust to any type of attacks. Whether you do intentionally, whether you do unintentionally, it will try to remain and say that I am there. Okay, so that is robust, but the main goal is to sustain the unintentional attacks, that is incidental attacks. As I already told, resizing the file or sampling the file or cropping, many other image processing operations, what we call. So there, actual information content you are not destroying, only you are transforming it, that's all. The contents will be as it is. So that contents will be as it is and the watermark should also be as it is. That goal is of robust algorithms. Okay. So what is your goal? We have to decide whether you actually want to be more think about the tamper detection and recovery, or whether you are bothered about getting protection rather than identifying these things. Okay. Whether you want to be very protective or whether you want to identify. Even the watermark goes, it's fine, but it has to identify, it has to say that there is some problem with this. Okay. Those things. Now, in between that, some work requires both flavors, not at the extreme levels. You are robust and for all type of compression, JPEG, for example, JPEG compression, you can do at varying quality factors. You can do mild compression, you can do a moderate compression, you can do an extreme compression also, 10%, 20%. Okay. That to extreme degree also, the watermark should not go away. It should withstand. That is robust. Semi-fragile says that, okay, for some smart amount of compression, I will withstand. Other things, there is no guarantee. That is what the semi-fragile. Like that, for some sort of tampering, it is applicable. So like that, quick solutions can be then given. Because when you are developing robust or fragile, it will take a lot of time. That product itself will become a lot of time to come to the market. Okay. So semi-fragile works get implemented faster and then can be released. Okay. All about the applications, all about the requirement. Based on that, we go for either fragile or semi-fragile or robust. So semi-fragile is kind of both. It is fragile to intentional attacks and robust to the unintentional attacks. But of course, the degree is very less. The extremity provided by fragile as well as robustness is not there in semi-fragile. Now, this is another technique, extraction-based watermarking, where if original is also there with you, it is what we can say blind, informed. If the original is there with you, it is informed. If the original is not there, it is blind, and definitely blind is desired. You can't expect original with you or original features at least with you to perform watermark extraction. Watermark extraction should have only watermarked image. Nothing original data should come. Neither the original image or its features or the keys or whatever data structures, whatever we have with respect to original should not be there, and then that is called as blind watermarking. Based on the type of media, we have text watermarking or watermark, whether it is a text, watermark can be an audio, watermark can be video. And watermarking can be a useful thing like an image or a text, which is useful. Some useful text I will put, some image itself I will put there. Or it can be a random number also. Watermark can be a random number. You can generate the watermark. That is called as noise. M sequences, N sequences, all those things. They are the noise that can be used as watermark. Now, this is the last point is important because we will discuss both in our implementation as well as in this discussion further. We'll try to implement the watermarking in spatial domain as well as frequency domains. So spatial domain, what we will do, we will try to modify the pixels itself. You have an image you have to watermark means ultimately the image is a collection of pixels. You try to modify the pixels and then get the watermarked image. Different ways we can modify that, and then finally we get up a watermarked image. That is LSB based or collection of LSB based or group based, like that. We can do that. But another way is, another technique is, you can't get more robust. Only fragile algorithms can be developed like this. But if you want more robust or semi-fragile, you can't use what we can say spatial domain. Pixel based watermarking is not possible. What you have to do is take an image, transform it. How to transform? We have a variety of transforms: DST, DCT, DFT, DWT. So we prefer normally DCT and DWT. I will give the reasons also next why we prefer that over DFT. Okay, and over DFT, DCT is preferred, and over DCT, DWT is preferred. And today we have many other transforms as well, like curlets are there. Particularly in my research work, I used curlets for handwritten documents. Wavelets were doing good results for other categories. But when I tested on handwritten documents, the same algorithm was not working well, the same algorithm what I developed. So changed it to curlet transform at that time, and definitely that gave better results. Okay, so like that, many transforms are there. We have to analyze the image as well, and then accordingly find out where is the bottom line of all those algorithms, where is the actual endpoint where it will not work. We have to find out that. Okay, so frequency domains are preferred for robust as well as semi-fragile algorithms, and spatial domain is preferred for the pixel, that is for the fragile algorithms. Okay. So you have to transform into another domain, and on those coefficients or using those coefficients, you have to watermark. Here you use pixels, there we use coefficients. Okay, we will discuss that as I show the procedure. You will come to know. There are certain challenges, as I told. Watermarking algorithms usually use the lower order bit planes, so also the intentional disturbance algorithms. Okay, the problem is the watermarking uses LSB for embedding. If it tries to use MSB, fidelity will not be there. So normally it uses least significant bit. But on the other hand, our noise algorithms or the denoising or other algorithms also filtering, they also use those lower order bit planes itself. They also use the LSBs itself. Because of which, after watermarking, if you do those things, the watermark might be lost. That is why I'm telling, for robustness, it is not at all a good mechanism to go for pixel-based watermarking. Cannot be inserted to downgrade quality of the image too much. That is what? That is a limitation. Okay. Digital watermark readers are usually widely available, and people can try to access. So many watermark readers are there which will try to access your watermark, and a limited amount of data that can be used in the highly compressed image. So all these things, the spatial domain has its problems, and that is why we go for the transformation domain algorithms. And this should not happen, because finally when you try to include the watermark, it should not produce visible artifacts at the edges or at the things, the blurriness, those things should not happen. Okay, so that care has to be taken, and that is what the limiting factor of any watermarking algorithm. So the domains has been discussed already. Okay, the first part has been already discussed. Let me go to this one. Watermarking algorithms for color images, what to do? Normally this question comes, how to watermark a color image, because most of the algorithms will write it for the single plane. Color images might have 3 planes or 4 planes, depending on RGB or RGB alpha, like that. Different solutions. You can watermark different planes itself, or take again transform that color plane into another color model. Like RGB model is there, you transform to YIQ or YCBCR. Take an alternate color plane model. Usually the RGB color model is there. You transform that into YIQ, luminance and chrominance channels. Y indicates luminance, whereas I and Q will give you the chrominance. Then on the luminance actually contains the energy. That is where the actual content, information content is there. Most of the information content is there in that Y itself. Only watermark that. Don't disturb IQ. Even in one of the work which I did, actually what we did was, after getting YIQ, we watermarked Y and then subsampled IQ. The entire color, human beings will not identify all shades of colors, but they can identify the contents. Now taking that, exploiting that limitation of our HVS, human visual system, because see, most of the watermarking algorithms, they exploit HVS itself. Because that human eye could not recognize each and small bits, we try to implement those watermarking algorithms without a problem. If you have got a very good eyesight and you can go inside X-ray like, okay, then it was difficult to do that, but that is not the case. Okay, nobody has such a kind of an eyesight. So YIQ model fits in. Why? Because along with that, what we did was that IQ was subsampled and it was reduced, and it was then embedded back. Okay, so those optimizations can also be done while watermarking. So this is the normal trending. That is, instead of selecting the different planes and doing watermarking, color planes and doing watermarking, transform that RGB to YIQ, or in on related is YCBCR. Based on that, you can do it. Even there are works reported on HSI color models also. Okay. Yeah. Next one. See, these are so many attacks we should be aware of, because ultimately after implementing the algorithm, you should not end there itself. Don't end your work there itself. Okay. You should test properly on the attacks. And there are many benchmark attacks available, as well as many sophisticated attacks available, or standard attacks available, which has to be used for testing. One of the tools that is available for testing is stirmark. What stirmark attack normally says is, you do a watermark and then take a printout of that, and then again digitize that. That is called resampling. Okay, you have an image, you watermark it. After that, you take a printout of that and again again digitize that, and then check the extraction, how far it is able to extract. Okay, that is one kind of attack. Okay, is it possible to sustain that resampling? Is it possible to sustain the simple? Because normally when we try to digitize, the angle might change, there might be some small shifting, there might be some small scaling, all those things might happen in the process. How far it is able to sustain? That is tested using stirmark. Okay. Stirmark simulates that process. Stirmark is a software actually. This is stirmark attack. Stirmark attack means this. Whatever image is there, you digitize that, watermark it, and then take a printout, and then again digitize that, and then test the capability of the extraction. That is the normal stirmark attack. And there is a software ready-made, stirmark, which simulates this process. Okay. It will add some shearing, it will add some translation, rotation, small components will be added, and it will try to find out how far it is, it is sustaining or it is susceptible. Those things it will see. IBM attack, I will not go through all the mathematics involved here. Just I will like to tell what is going on. It is all the question of ownership. Okay, you have an image X and there is a watermark, you get Y. That's obvious. Some X is there. There is a watermark, and when you embed that, you get watermarked image. Let us call it as or label it as Y. What they are trying to do is from that Y, they are trying to find out what is the watermark embedded. Okay. Bob creates a random watermark and then tries to estimate that Y. Okay, it will try to generate so many copies of random watermark, and then with all the originals it will try and then try to get the same Y. Ownership. So trying to create the different owner, trying to become the owner. That is IBM attack. Okay. But that IBM attack, again, there is a software with IBM that tries to simulate all these processes. Try to generate different copies of this watermark and then combine with this different originals and try to see that get a close watermarked image related to this. Get a very closed watermarked image related to this. That kind of an attack is called as the ownership attack. And not only it is done blindly, it is done with some heuristics as well. Okay, and it is being done. So normally how to defeat such a process is whatever watermark you are going to embed, if it depends on the image, then you will get an image dependent watermark. If it depends on the image you are using, the watermark what we have, it should not be just a random noise. If that is having some component of the image or some component of the time actually, then such ownership, false ownerships can be avoided. Simulation or creation of false owners, what this IBM tries to do, IBM attack tries to do, can be avoided. That is the observation that was done with this attack. Non-invertible, if you want to do, definitely you want to go for, as I told, yeah, time stamping can be done, as well as what we can do is we can make watermark dependent on the original image. Once your watermark depends on the original image, another copy of getting that watermark will be difficult unless you have the original image with you. Okay. So generating the watermark itself or trying to simulate the watermark itself, create the watermark itself would be a little difficult. Okay, next. Okay, let us leave this. Let us go to the performance evaluation parameters. There are different performance evaluation parameters that is possible. Okay, the topic I will come again later. Previous things what I told. Watermark detectors I will discuss at the end after discussing the wavelets and other things. So normally we go for 3 to 4 important parameters, even 5 parameters at least. Okay, I will discuss them. PSNR, peak signal to noise ratio, in simple terms, in that how much noise is there compared to the signal, how much noise is there. That ratio we call it as the peak signal noise ratio, which is of course computed using another thing called as MSE, mean square error. Okay, so we have two, I and W. I is the original image, W is the watermarked image. Each pixel by pixel we are taking the square of the difference in square you are taking, and finally getting the average of that. That is mean square error. When you take minus itself, you get an error. You are squaring the error and then taking the mean of that, right? So that is what the name MSE. This is the error. I minus W itself is the error. Squaring that square error and taking the mean average. That is why mean square error. So applying on this formula, we get the PSNR, taking the log base 10 of what could be the maximum value and what is that you have achieved. Okay. Max I indicates the maximum intensity value of the pixel. It might be 255 or depending on how many bands you are using, it should be the maximum value, maximum pixel value. Okay. Ideally, when you make a PSNR, particularly what the watermarking says is, it should be in the range of 40 to 60, if not even worst case 30 to 50. Most of the robust algorithms will have very less value of PSNR, because in attempt of making more and more robust, normally we try to embed a lot of data, and that in turn affects our PSNR values. So for that reason, trying to reduce the amount of data, but not still losing the data, compression is also being applied, or selection of bands is being applied. Different transformation techniques are being used. Many other things are there. So, but ideally how to measure it is effective or not using the PSNR. So fidelity is measured using the PSNR. PSNR value ideally lies between 30 to 50 decibels. Okay. And another parameter particularly used in our robust watermarking is NCC, normalized correlation coefficients. So what is the correlation between the pixels? Okay. Here there is I1 and I2, where I1 represents the embedded one. It is between the watermarks, because as I told, it is mainly used in robust watermarking, where what we will do is whenever we extract the watermark, we try to evaluate the quality of that watermark. We try to evaluate the quality of that watermark using this particular parameter. So between the watermarks embedded and extracted, there are I1 and I2, and what is the relationship or the correlation among those values in the different directions, horizontal, vertical, and diagonal directions. Okay. Usually, again, the value either normalized, because I have normalized it, it will be from 0 to 1. Normally, we have three values for correlation coefficients: -1 to 1, negatively correlated, positively correlated, and not at all correlated. But here we normalize that and bring it into 0 to 1. Okay. So definitely 0.99 or 0.95 is what desirable if it is a very good robust watermarking algorithm. Coming to fragile, there are two separate parameters, TLA and TRA, tamper localization accuracy and tamper recovery accuracy. Tamper localization accuracy means how better you have localized your tamper, how you are able to identify these are the areas of tamper, how effectively you have done that. That is TLA. So individual bits we will XOR and find out which bits is being properly identified. So total number of bits, watermarked region, tamper bit, and tamper detection bit. That's what actually tampered and what is detected. If you take the XOR, we'll come to know whether it is correct or not. Because in XOR what happens when the bits are same, we'll get it the same 0. Okay. So 0, 0, tamper was not there and you also identified no tamper, it is 0. Tamper was there and you also identified tamper, 1, again 0. Those cases. In other two cases, you will get 1. Either you have wrongly identified a tamper, either you have missed the tamper or you have wrongly identified a tamper, false positive and false negative. Because of those things, tamper localization has to be estimated properly. And based on the percentage we get, we can tell what is the good effectiveness of our fragile algorithms. Okay. Because we told that fragile algorithms has to identify the intentional attacks. Now, intentional attacks, when you are identifying, we should see how far you have identified it properly. So for that, we have coined a parameter called as tamper localization accuracy. Just like tamper localization accuracy, there is another parameter called as tamper recovery accuracy. Again, the same knowledge, how correctly you have recovered it, how correctly you have detected it, and how correctly you have recovered it. Okay, that is what actually in my thesis as well I did it. That is the TLA and TRA, because that was giving the correct picture. Detection and correction operations is what I put in the thesis title. So definitely I should justify those things. And this was one of the parameters, TLA and TRA, which actually identifies even the false positives and false negatives also. In recovery also, there can be false positive and false negative. Okay, you have recovered a wrong bit or you have missed out the correct bit. So those things we have to see. So that is again expressed in terms of 0 to 1. Definitely 0.9 and above is desirable. Normally, if it is semi-fragile, even they keep quiet for 0.7. Even they accept or go with 0.7 if it is semi-fragile algorithms. A fragile category of algorithms where your goal completely is to check somebody is trying to tamper my contents. That itself is your intention. You should keep it close to 0.9 and onwards. Okay, the algorithm performance, right? So that is another performance parameter. Now all these are the performance parameters. Just like NCC and PSNR. One more term actually I will illustrate in MATLAB as well. SSIM, structured similarity, that is also there. And recently, instead of structured similarity, particularly for color images, they have used something called as featured structured similarity, FSSIM. Okay, so many other parameters are also there. And rather than just identifying the information contents, we also need to see the structuring has been maintained or not, the patterns have been maintained or not. That is done using FSIM, okay, feature structured similarity. Along with that, as a part of the research, we have to validate our research. We put a hypothesis saying that, okay, our algorithm has given a very good performance. My algorithm is achieving 90% accuracy. My algorithm is giving good PSNR. But is it sufficient to claim that your work is really significant? No, it is not sufficient, because there might be many other algorithms giving the same performance. Then what we have to do is we have to statistically prove it. What is the significance after the use of your algorithm? What is the significance? Now, that has to be done in the research. You have to put that thing in the research thesis as well. Okay? You should validate your results. You got a result, you have shown that fine, it has worked for some images, some database you have built, corpus is there, taken that, tested it, given the result, fine. After that, we have to validate that work, saying, comparing with other works, how significant it was your work. Okay, after the introduction of that, how significant it was. So for that, we go for a statistical technique or a method called as ANOVA. ANOVA stands for analysis of variance. So we are going to analyze the variance between the techniques. Okay. Let us see what it does. It is used to find out whether the results of the performance metrics are significant even after the application of the new method. Some method was already giving the performance. Now I introduced a new method. I put my own work, and now I want to claim mine is a good one. Mine is a significant contribution. Mine is a very novel contribution. How to do that? We have to go for an ANOVA test. ANOVA test, what it does, it will be applying this formula, that is sigma 1 square by sigma 2 square, where there are the estimates of the sample variances of the performance metrics. Performance metrics can be anything. You can claim using PSNR, you can claim using NCC, or you can claim using TRA, TLA, all those things. Their sample variances we have to estimate. And this is how they are calculated. Sigma 1 square and sigma 2 squares are calculated. So what we have to do is, we have to apply it for the, say for example, I got 500 images, right? So PSNR given by your method and PSNR given by their another method, you will test it. After that, you will put inside this formula, you will try to analyze the variance of the difference of PSNRs between your technique and their technique for over 100 images or 1000 images or something. Finally, you will get some percentage, and that percentage value will tell at what confidence level you can speak yours is a good work. Okay. For example, if you see that both the PSNRs are almost the same, then the confidence will be 10%. Not much contribution is there. But if there is a good difference of PSNRs over the range of images, not just one, usually it is done for around 1000 images, big corpus of images, we have to test it. When you are doing ANOVA testing, your sample size should be good enough. To take 1 or 2 samples and then try to claim, definitely that is not the way it is to be done. And as a researcher, definitely you will have a very big corpus. Okay? So you have a corpus, you have got a data set, and what you have to do after that is, you have to find out what is the significant differences. You put all those PSNR findings of your work and their work into this, and it will analyze the variance differences among all those things for all images. And ultimately, if you get around 70% or 80%, that is little bit a big confidence level. Confidence level is little high. Okay, so that is what we have to see. The confidence has to be claimed. So if I get 90, then definitely you are at 90% confident that your work is good, significant. Your work is significant. So confidence level in expressing significance, okay, that is being calculated using the ANOVA testing. Okay. It's an interesting test, and even today APIs are available as well as the online calculators are available for doing this. MATLAB also has the package for that. So I think it is better you can try that if you are doing any work, whatever work it might be. You will have your own performance metrics. Try to analyze between the different methods, and then claim with a lot of confidence this is significant. Okay. Contribution is significant. Okay, let us now go on to the small implementation now, that is our LSB based watermark embedding and extraction using MATLAB. Even if you're not aware, you can just see the MATLAB tool. That is not difficult. Okay, so a scripting tool. The advantage of scripting is, compared to the programming, those problems of data types and too much of syntaxes need not be bothered. They're all relaxed. Okay, and we can start working directly. Here, what I'm trying to implement in this example is, I'm trying to demonstrate the pixel-based technique, that is through LSB modification. I got an image and I got a text file. The text file I'm trying to embed that into the image by disturbing the LSBs. Okay, that is what we will do. And we will evaluate different performance metrics from that. And then come to know what can be improved there. And then it will trigger us that we have to go for other techniques as well. Okay, we will, so those things we have to analyze. We will analyze the histograms, we will analyze those metrics. Then it will come to know that, okay, this technique has some problems, so we have to move towards the next ones. Okay. So I'll just demonstrate. Okay, this is our tool, MATLAB tool. Even today, MATLAB online is available, but that requires an account, college account or student account has to be there. MATLAB Live is there, where that can be used even without installing. Cloud-based MATLAB is also there. But I will be demonstrating the tool which I have installed already. Scripts are there, so let me take up the new script. I hope this MATLAB window is visible. Can just acknowledge.
Visible.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, let us start one by one. Of course, we start with reading the image and getting the size of the image. Our image and watermark, two things. So this is the API. Inbreed is the API for reading the image. And this is an image that is already there. The test image is already there inside the MATLAB. I have not put that image, cameraman.tif. And these are the rows and columns. There is a dimension of the image. So let us save this. What you get is you get the collection of pixels. Okay, so let us say LSB embed is my program. Just running this should give us the pixels. And let us see what type of image is this. Is it a grayscale image or is it a color image? Those things also can be seen. How to do that? Just go for size of I. It should give you the dimensions of the image, and let us see how many dimensions it gives. 1 second. Yeah. Even with the workspace available here, you can see that. Okay, I'm recognized because I have cleared it. Okay, let us run this again. Now the program has run. Size of I. So only two dimensions. That clearly says it is the grayscale image. 256, 256 is a grayscale image. Even you can see that it is grayscale only. Just displaying the image show. If it is the color image, one more parameter will get added there. Okay, that is here. Instead of rows and columns, we'll also add one more thing here. Number of bands available. So 3 or 4 it might be based on the image. This is the obviously a grayscale image. If you have color image, another parameter can be included, n. So n is the number of color planes. And as I told, instead of directly using that, direct function is there, RGB to YCBCR. Can convert that and only concentrate on the luminance component. Okay. Fine, that is the image part. Next, our watermark, which is actually a text file contents. How to read the text file contents and how to binarize that, those things we will see. So file read is a very simple function that reads a text file. My text file is fil.txt. Obviously, I have to create that file. So let me create that in this window. Okay, today we have webinar on watermarking. Some contents. Full stop. Save it. So our file name is file.txt. Yeah, sorry for the little delay. Okay. File.text. Text file is created. Now, what is this decimal to binary? All those things we will see. What is that? Okay, S is the string, that is the file contents. Today we have webinar, what I have written, that is yes. Okay, it is cleared, I think. Let it. Yeah, this is our string. Within the quotes, you can find that. But directly string we cannot put because ultimately pixels are numbers. Numbers only we have to hide it into the LSBs. Some bits we have to manipulate and put our data. Okay, so it has to be binarized. The string has to be binarized. So there is a decimal to binary, comma 8. 8 is important because it has to be made as a uniform 8-bit, because some of them will be 3 bits, some of them will be 4 bits, but it will be difficult to synchronize at the receiver. Okay, so we will make it all of them uniform as 8 bits. So S comma 8 is binary representation, and you can see that we have a binary string like this. Now, what is this? If you see the size of binary string, it is 38.8. What is 38 here? It is the 38 characters. Because today we have webinar and space is there, dot is there, all including, there are totally 38 characters. Okay, you can see this. If you just see the last one, it is showing 39th column, means up to this there is 38 columns. Totally there are 38 characters, and each of those characters has been binarized. Okay, and this is the binary representation of each character. So if I write a BS of 1, BS is an array containing 38 characters, binary representation of the 38 characters. BS of 1 will be the first character. But if I write BS of 1 comma colon, this is my first character. What is the first character? Today, T, capital T. Now, how to get this binary is very simple. You have to convert that into ASCII. You know that ASCII value of capital A is 65. So T will be some value. You can take the fourth one to see. Fourth one is 97. So 0, 4, BS of 4. It is 97. 64, 32, and 1. It is 97. So that is the binary representation we have done. So string has been binarized, and that is in the form of binary strings. Well, it is not binary bits, it is still binary strings. Okay. Next, further, convert that ASCII to numeric. Okay. So for converting that, we use this formula, just -0. Let us see what is the result of that. See, that string has been now made it as numbers, bits, individual bits. Earlier it was compacted as strings, binary strings. From the string we got binary string. From binary string we have got binary array. And that is easily now processable. It is processable. We can take it and put it into our image. So some processing like this is required. So we read a text file, got it strings, converted to binary strings. From that we converted to binary array and made it processable. Next, get the size, because we know that all the pixels will not be used. We need an endpoint for traversing. Pixel by pixel I will go through, and each pixel I will try to modify the last bit. But there should be a mechanism to find out where I have to end. So for that, I will go for getting the size. Why I am getting the size? Because I should know where my watermarking should end. Watermarking will start from the first pixel. But what is the last pixel? Last pixel depends on how many characters are there. If you have got 38 characters, then 38 characters, each character has got 8 bits. Totally 38 into 8. 38 into 8 means, I'll give you the estimation of pixels. 304 pixels will be used. But I should know that, because the file may have any content. You may have 20 characters only. Then you will have only 160 pixels to be visited. So while writing the program, I should know where is my endpoint. Why watermarking definitely starts at first pixel, but where it has to end. Of course, you can think of again making it as a key, where to start the watermarking. All those things can be done. That is the next level of processing. But here, we should know where exactly where to start the watermark. For that reason itself, I am getting the size of this. So how to get the size of that? 304 I should get, no? So let us check whether it is 304. How did I get that? From this size I got BR and BC. Now BR means the number of rows, 38. BC means each column has of course 8. It is fixed, 8 bits. BR into BC is the size of the. So how many pixels you have to do watermark is length. So we had watermark, we have binarized it, we have then got the count of how many pixels to be used for watermarking. Next. Now starts the watermarking process. Initializations are simple. That is, we assume that original image itself is the watermarked image. There is no disturbance. Later, you have to take it and start changing it. The best case is the original image itself is watermarked image. Nothing is being done. But you have to modify. Then only that is the watermarking. So, Wi is equal to I. Wi will be our watermarked image. K is equal to 1 is the starting position where we are going to start the watermarking. First pixel. Even you can make a secret using any of the key generator and other techniques. You can secret, and from there you can start. Okay? And rather than even going linearly like this, what I will show now, it is a linear way of doing it. Traversing two for loops, one for the rows in the pixels, another for the columns in the pixels. Pixel by pixel I have to get. That is the traversal. You can even make it non-linear. And you can make a key generator and then find out the positions where you have to watermark. And that generate algorithm should be there at the receiver so that it will try to extract from those places only. Those are all the things that can be done. Now let us see the actual embedding algorithm, what is there, and then run that. So to keep track of the 304 pixels, what I am doing is I am using a flag. For I is equal to 1 to rows and for j is equal to 1 to columns, which means that I am traversing all the rows, and in each row I will be traversing all the columns. Ultimately, I am traversing the entire image. This is for traversing. These loops are for traversing the image. Image is basically rows and columns, right? But if you have a color plane, maybe another loop might be added if you are watermarking all the color planes, or if you again gone for luminance band, this is sufficient. If you are only watermarking luminance, this is sufficient. But if you are watermarking all the color planes, then one more loop of n can be added there, number of planes. Okay. Now, all that we have to do, LSB based is a very simplest algorithm that can be implemented. What we do in LSB, the last bit, least significant bit has to be replaced by our watermark bit. Least significant bit of the pixel of the original image should be replaced by the bit of the our image. That is what the thing. There again, optimizations can be done. Based on the content contribution, we can even decide which bit has to be replaced. Okay. That is what we did in the thesis part as well. One of the project which I implemented, where we have actually calculated the significance of every pixel, and based on that, we have modified 1 pixel, we have modified 2 pixels. Other algorithms are there, but just now for the implementation sake, I will just show you the basic version, that is LSB modification. So for doing that, what we do is actually we have to AND the last one, bit AND of I, j 254. This whole together, what it says is the last bit of the original image should be 0, made 0. Last bit you have to make 0. That's all. Why you have to make 0? Because that it is left for to be replaced by the watermark. That is reserved for watermark. What is content inside that will not bother, because even if you modify that, it is not going to affect the quality of the image. So what we have to do there, we have to make it 254. That means, see here, yeah. This means the original image, the last significant bit, that is the last bit is going to be masked, and it is left 0. There what you will do, you will put your watermark, that is BS of K. The BS was the watermark, right? Binary sequence of the watermark. BS of K, K starts with 1. So first iteration, first bit, second bit, third bit, totally 304 bits, 304 watermark bits are there. One by one, it will keep on doing. K gives you the index of the watermark. Index of the watermark. Watermark is BS, binarized state, BS. BS of K. So that will be replacing. How to replace? The option is operation is bit OR. You have to OR it. And given 250, every pixel will have 255 values or 256 values, that is 8 bits. Last bit you have to take means you have to keep 254. When all the 8 bits are 1, it is 255. When all the 7 bits are 1 and the last bit is 0 means it is 254. That is why it is 254. Suppose that you have decided that you will replace the last 2 bits, then it will be 251. First 6 bits. Last 2 bits you have to remove. 2 and 1, I think 252 or 251 it will be there. Fine. Okay, then k is equal to k plus 1. When k exceeds length, when the index exceeds length, you are done. Your goal is to go on as long as your watermark bits gets exhausted. When the watermark bit is done, then you have to break it, break this loop. We'll break the columns loop, and then if it is broken, again we'll test a condition and then break the rows loop also. You can't directly break from the rows as well. There is no jump statement or go to statements here. So we'll first break the column loop and then signal it that I have broken. And after signaling, if the signal has come, then I will break the row loop also. That is why flag is kept. Flag is used to signal that I have broken this loop. It is a signal from column loop to the row loop that I have broken. You also break, and let us end this process. That is what the meaning. Okay. So this, I think, a little bit here. This whole process deals us with embedding technique, embedding with the LSB. So we have done ANDing as well as we have done the indexing. Keep on doing this. Keep on traversing the entire image. What is the worst case where we will stop this process? The stopping of the process is done by 2 ways. Either you have to, the stopping of this whole process is done either when the watermark exhausts or when the entire image is scanned completely. Okay, scanning happens very linearly. As I told, optimizations like selection of bits or scanning process itself, everything can be done, and different techniques involved. Even with LSB or a special domain, a lot of research has been done and new ways are found out. Okay. Fine, we have done the embedding part. Once it is done, what is our next task is plot the original image, plot the histograms as well, and analyze it. Later I will display the metrics. Yeah, how to display an image in the MATLAB? There is a function called as imshow. For reading an image, imread. For writing an image, imwrite. Likewise for displaying imshow. Okay, imshow, imview, like the different functions. Then a single figure window, I want 4 graphs or 4 figures. Those are the original image, the watermarked image, the histogram of the original image, and the histogram of the watermarked image. So we should see whether there is any change in the histograms also, and it should not change. If it has changed, then there is some impact on watermarking. Watermarking has actually impacted your pixels. That is one way of testing whether watermarking has an impact. Fidelity was changed. Those things we are going to check with the histograms. Okay. Normally, when you are doing cryptography, the histograms should actually become very flat for the cipher image. But with the watermarked image, it should be as close as possible to the original image. Then only it's a good technique. And your fidelity is not disturbed much. But when you go for robust algorithms, small changes usually happen. Histograms, small slide shifting normally happens. Okay. Let us see what is that happens. Subplot is basically used to put an image inside the particular figure window in a particular position. Here 2 to 1 indicates it is the entire figure window is divided into 2 cross 2. And they have got 4 positions. In that, this is the first position. Second position, you will keep watermarked image. It goes row by row. First position to the left, second position to the right. That finishes first row. Second row only, third is on the left. That is original image histogram. Imhist is a function for plotting the histogram. Imhist histogram. One function is a hist eq. That is to equalize the histogram. If the histogram is concentrated more towards one side, if you want to flatten that, or if you want to make it equalize, there is a hist eq function. Anyway, that is not in this context. Other than attackingly, they will use that. But while just running that, we are using the, for analyzing that, we are using the imhist. like that in histogram of WI, that is the histogram of the watermarked image. So let us run this. Yeah, it is little slow. MATLAB is little slow compared to the other languages as concerned. As can be seen, even visually and even with respect to the histogram, not much changes are there. Even though at some boundary points there are minute changes. If you go in very depth, you may come to know that. But other than that, the original histogram, what it appears, seems to be very perceptually same to the watermarked image. And that naturally happens because it is a spatial domain technique. You are not at all altering anything based on coefficients. You are doing on pixel level. Okay? So therefore, this is what we end up with: original image, watermarked, its histogram. And so the analysis says that the perceptually they are same, almost the same. And actually, see, it should be same. Why? Because if I give you an estimate, the size of the image is 256 into 256. That goes to be around 65,536. And how much you embedded there? 304. So totally your embedding strength is 304 divided by 65536. 4% you have done, that's all. Very less, right? So because of that, you should increase the embedding. There is a lot of scope of increasing the embedding capacity, doing robustness, all those things still possible. Okay? But for the small example we took, this is the case. Anyway, we have got the original image, we have got the watermarked image, all those things has been done. Next, get the performance metrics. Yeah, this is important because, okay, one way of analyzing was using histograms. Let us see the other way. Using the performance metrics, 3 performance metrics are being used. Okay, PSNR, COR2, and SSIM. Okay, so PSNR is, I think I'll take another 5 minutes extra. 11:30 now, what was planned?
Yes, sir. It's to 11:30. It's no problems, and we'll start our session according to the second according to that.
Okay. 5 minutes I will just extend. Okay, thank you. Yeah, PSNR, correlation, and SSIM. Peak signal to noise ratio. What is the difference or signal between WI and I? We'll see the value, how much decibels it is. And how much noise watermark has added to the image. We have to see that. Correlation between these two, again, in terms of 0 to 1, we have to see. Here it is normal correlation, so -1 to 1 actually. And structural similarity, not only the contents, also the structure we are analyzing with this SSIM. So let us see those values quickly. Okay, this is fine. As can be seen, the PSNR is 74. I think this value we can note down because later I will compare this value with the transformation domain techniques, where you will analyze the pros and cons. 74.92, of course, a very good PSNR. Naturally, because of the lowest embedding capacity, 4% below that. Correlation is 1, obviously very much highly correlated, so 1. And again, structural similarities 1. Of course, this value will reduce when you go for further robustness. Okay, that we will see in the next techniques further. The last point in this scheme is how to save it, and one more saving I am going to do. We have to see both the things. What are they? Okay, how to save the image? Of course, the function is imwrite, and we are saving the watermarked image to another file called as w.tiff. Cameraman.tiff was the original image. Watermarked image is w.tiff. Why we have to save? Because this image itself I have to use at the receiver. At the receiver, you have to extract it, extract the data which I have embedded. So we require the watermarked image. You can't pass the original image itself and then try to extract all those things. So we have to save it. Further, you have to save the input bits. Why this is required? Because receiver requires some information. Okay, receiver has watermarked image with him, but he cannot still extract because he don't know how many pixels I have to use. Receiver knows that I have to start from 1. Okay, but what is my endpoint? Now endpoint depends on the number of characters you have embedded. At least that information you have to give. That is given by the variable called as BS. BR and BC, sorry. That is given by BR and BC. BR is the number of rows and BC is the number of columns. So that will give us the actual count of how much pixels we are using. Okay, 304. How did we get that? It is 38 into 8. BR is 38 and BC is 8. Then you may ask why you are sending BS also. Now BS I am only sending not for extraction, for comparison. It's only for comparison. I want to see whether my extracted bits are same as the embedded bits. So I am sending BS. Okay. All these things I am saving in a matrix file so that I can easily load it. And the variables Nella we are saving in a file called as a mat file. So that at the other end you can load those variables and directly those variables can be compared. Rather than saving it in a file and reading that file at the other end, the easiest way of communication in MATLAB is use the .mat files, use the save command. Okay, save all your variables to the matrix file, and at the other end you can even load it. Okay, so I think I will end by running this program. Yeah, the same result. But what is created extra is, as you can see, w.tif is created. This is the watermarked image that has been created. And also a matrix file is created. What is that? w.mat. Now w.mat contains all these variables, ds, br and bc. Br and bc will be used for finding the endpoint of the extraction, whereas bs will be used for comparing the embedded with the extraction and seeing the performance of our technique. Okay. Fine. This is about the discussion on embedding. I think after the break, we will move on to extraction. And once we have seen this algorithm as a whole, we can also implement DCT and DWT also. So transformation domains I will discuss next, along with some ideas on what new research that can be done in the next session. Yeah, over to you, Raghu.
Yeah. So, thank you, sir. Thank you. It is wonderful that on watermarking, the current research on watermarking, a few practical examples and programming on watermarking. So far, in our session yesterday, we were having a bit practical examples with online explanations. Today, we had programming altogether. So we have missed a hands-on session here. But I hope participants are gathering more information on and watermarking. So we'll join again at 12 o'clock sharply. I'll request all the participants to please join at 12 o'clock. Thank you, Chetan sir. We'll again meet at 12 o'clock. And we had a very wonderful session in the morning. And hope will be continued with the second session after 12 o'clock. Sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We'll join that. Thank you.
I thank all the participants. I request participants to 12 o'clock after the 12 o'clock session, immediately that we'll have our validatory function. So I request all the participants to join for the validatory function also. Meanwhile, I request few to give a feedback in the validatory function. For that, I request please send me the names and your details to WhatsApp number so that I will have a feedback in the validatory session also. So thank you all. We'll join again at sharp 11:55 and we'll continue with the watermarking session. Thank you.
नागेश्वर जी ये फाइन में रखवा देती है वाला और पेंडेंट वाली फाइन में और फिर ये जो अपन कलेक्ट करेंगे इसकी शायद अलग ही फाइन है हाँ तो वो जो अपन सबको बोलेंगे एचडी रिबन में लाते नागेश्वर की रखते हैं क्या किया इन्होंने जिसमें दिया उसने अंतरा में इसको दिया हम इसमें टीचर पे साइन ये भी दो ही है हाँ दो थे और कुछ कुछ रखे गए थे छोटे सर नागेश्वर जी इनको नहीं गया ना विपिन बुढ़े सर को नहीं गया ना नहीं सर का साइन की है देख मेरी भी चल रहा तुम ध्यान बैठ जाएगा ना क्या कैसे डालना मंडे से शुरू करेंगे सबसे टाइम टेबल है अपने पास प्रिंट आउट ले हां तो आपको वो ना कितना एक से करेंगे फिर आप करेंगे ऐसा और हां अरे क्यों उसमें वेस्ट कर मैंने मेल डाला ही सबको आपको एचडी पे भी परसों तो 6 तारीख को 6 अक्टूबर हेलो क्या किस चीज का हाँ चल रहा है हाँ। क्या बोल रहे हैं वेरिफिकेशन एप्लीकेशन करो अच्छा ये आ गया क्या ये तरीका था ना एक अपडेटेड आर्टिकल का लेंगे ये आर्टिकल नहीं निकला थर्ड एक्सप्रेस करेक्शन अभी नए नॉर्म्स के हिसाब से कैसा करना है?
पर सब्जेक्ट 2 प्रैक्टिकल्स।
तो इसी में एक ही घंटा करना है, एक ही
हाँ,
घंटा
एक ही
करना है।
घंटा करें नॉर्मल वे पे।
जैसे यहाँ पे जो सब्जेक्ट है
वो भी करें।
ये एससीपीएलटी है ना, ऑलरेडी से अपने आपको जैसे भी है ये सर का काटते में यहाँ पे पीडब्ल्यूआई का प्रैक्टिकल डाल दो, ठीक है। और एक इन्वायरमेंटल देखो क्या
ठीक, अभी मुझे इन सबको पूछना है कि इनके सिलेबस कितने हैं। इनके 5 ही यूनिट हैं। वो प्रगति सक्षम की अपन ने लिस्ट दी थी। हाँ, मैं आपको लिस्ट दी थी। हाँ, तो मैंने अपन ने उसको ये किया। हाँ। अभी कुछ वेरिफिकेशन आया है
अपन का वेरिफिकेशन नहीं है, जो लोगों ने फॉर्म भरे हुए हैं।
हाँ, तो उनको सिर्फ इन्फॉर्म कर दो सर बच्चों को।
हाँ, वो एलिजिबल ही नहीं है।
क्यों बच्चे पूरे?
हाँ, अपने वाले।
क्यों?
क्योंकि वो फर्स्ट ईयर के लिए एप्लीकेबल है या सेकंड ईयर एक्चुअल एंट्री के लिए।
हाँ,
अपने तो थर्ड ईयर वाले हैं।
अपने थर्ड ईयर वाले थे। हाँ, उनको बताना पड़ेगा वैसे। नहीं,
अभी क्या हुआ है कि उन्होंने पोर्टल पे रजिस्ट्रेशन किया है, जो एलिजिबल नहीं है उनको हटा देंगे वो अपने आप। हाँ, तो कुछ करना नहीं।
अब इसमें मैडम क्या बोल रही है?
तो एक मेल अपनी तरफ से बच्चों को चला जाना चाहिए कि
हाँ,
कि दिस इज एलिजिबल फॉर फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड।
वो सब लोगों ने फॉर्म भर दिया है। अब हमारा रोल खत्म हो गया है, अब रोल है एएससीटी का। वो अप्रूव करते हैं।
अभी बच्चों को बोलो कि वो फॉर्म वेरिफिकेशन स्टार्ट हो जाए। सेकंड ईयर के लेटर एंट्री वाले ने कुछ भरे नहीं थे क्या?
नहीं, तो सबने भरे हैं।
हाँ,
तो वो